add into my videos every week. So got a lot of questions about this one. I got to do f of -2. Means my x is -2. What line does -2 fit on? Well, -2 is not greater than 3, so I'm not using this line. And -2 doesn't have the equal sign right here, so I'm not using this line. -2 is less than or equal to -2. This is called a piecewise function. We got multiple pieces. We got to pick the correct one to plug in on, and we're plugging in indeed on this one. So 2 times -2 plus 8 is -4 plus 8, which is 4. I don't think I've seen anybody miss the 4 part all day. Moving on to the second part of this, I got to do 2 times f of 3, just like first unit. I got to do the f of x or f of 3 part. 3 fits on this line, line 2. I'm plugging in 3. I'm a little bit worried that I wrote over that. I've got to do x squared minus 3, and that's a 3 squared minus 3. I'm sorry, I'm plugging in 3. 3 squared is 9, and 9 minus 3 is 6. I saw some people do 4 plus 6 is 10. We haven't done this number right here yet, have we? I done forgot like 3 times myself. After emphasizing on day 1, don't forget about that number. There's a 2 times 6, which is 12. 4 plus 12 is a final answer of 16. Pat yourself on the back if you got 16. You know I'm recording. You can still stop me if you have any questions. Second question, if school begins, don't quote me, but school begins at 7:15. Most teachers are happy if you're within 5 minutes. Okay, not a true story, but a good example. It's generally x minus your target. Well, somebody close the door. It's generally x minus your target, and you're okay as long as you're close, like if you're off by less than or equal to 5 minutes. But this problem wants unacceptable. Unacceptable is if we're off by what? If we're off by more than 5 minutes, then that's more of an issue. But again, this is not actual Philip O'Berry facts. This is just me making an example. So nope, I bolded and underlined the word unacceptable to help out. Nope. It was only 69 or 62.9% of kids missed this last semester. I think I did a better job of emphasizing it this semester. So I'm hoping the results are going to be a bit better, especially for that question. Plus, I'm making this document. I didn't have this most missed questions quizzes last semester. I just made it last night. Again, not necessarily a true story. The Panthers set a goal to win 10 games this season or within 3 wins of this goal. So their target is 10. They want to be off by less than or equal to 3. They're okay if they're off by 3, whether it's plus 3 or minus 3 on that. They're happy. So this is the little scenario. This one wasn't as nearly as missed because it was acceptable. And it's still 35% ain't terrible. But on questions like this, I'm definitely hoping for more like 90 to 100%. All you're doing is following that same strategic setup. You're not working it out or anything. This one had a really good trap to it, like a lot of questions in Math 3. You're asked which one of the answer choices are good, and there was 2 of them that was good. Now, obviously, we know the overlap from Friday is the correct one, and one of them was right here. That one was real easy. The best trap answer was 0, 0, but why is 0, 0 a bad answer, even though it's right here? Thank you. It's because it's on a dotted line. And then one of the answers was right here. What's the difference about this coordinate? That one's a solid line. Solid lines are good, like closed circles. Dotted lines are like open circles. They're no good. So that was the 2. That was the things that you need to know, and that's why this was a tougher question last unit. 44.3% of kids missing one like this. Okay. Next up, got a couple questions about this. Make sure you read the question. Make sure you pick up on what's bolded up there. It clearly says choose the y value. They're definitely going to put the x value as a choice when they say something like this. No, I already have this ready to put in. Yep, bam. If you didn't know, these little dots on the side, I'm turning things on and off. So I have a lot of stuff pre-programmed in. Wherever they're equal to each other is wherever they cross at. And that's where they cross at. But notice the X was an answer choice, but we didn't want the X. It wanted the Y. And even then, 0.333 is not an answer choice. But we should hopefully recognize 0.33 is 1/3. It's easy to type that in and see where they cross at, and test writers know that. So they look for little ways, like putting the fraction instead of the decimal. So questions like this, I feel like I've given a lot more practice this semester. I think it's going to go better than it did last semester. And last semester, kids did good, of course, but 64% missing this obviously isn't too good. It wasn't multiple choice, so I think that hurt a good bit. It might even be a good idea to just go back at the end and work it out again if you have time and see if you get the correct answer. But when I'm doing H of 2, I'm definitely going to the H ones, and I got to plug 2 in on the correct line, top line or bottom line. You need that one with the equals, right? 2 is greater than or equal to 2. 2 ain't less than 2. I'm plugging in 2 right there. I should get a nice easy 9 out of that. Once you get that 9, don't forget there's a 3 in the front. 3 times 9 gives you 27 on the first side of this. Most kids get the first side of this one right. I'm going to subtract, so I wrote a plus sign. Now that I look at the problem, no, I should not have wrote a plus sign. It's definitely a minus in between them. As I work out my other side, this time I'm doing G of -5. So I'm going to the G's. Which line does -5 fit on? Is -5 less than 3? Or is -5 greater than or equal to 3? Definitely that version, yep. Be careful when you plug in this negative. You got -5 squared plus 2. If you type this in Desmos, Desmos will square the 5. Guess what Desmos don't square? And you don't square the negative unless you do this. You got to know -5 squared is supposed to be a positive. Desmos will tell you -25. How you looking crazy? 25 plus 2 is 27. There wasn't no other number to multiply by this time. 27 minus 27 was a nice little 0. Shout out to you if you got that, because again, 66% of kids missed that last semester. Not knocking them. Overall, they did good. I'm hoping that y'all do better. And I'm probably always going to put an inverse question, especially the whole first quarter, because inverse was a big deal in Unit 1. In this unit, I'll probably put some of the up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, stretch vertical, stretch horizontal. I'll probably always put one of those the rest of this whole first quarter, because it's just a big deal. Follow your steps. Take your time. Follow your steps. Change f of x to y. Switch your x and your y, and then get y by itself. Got 2 things to get rid of. Which one's further away? Definitely the 5 is further away. We know how to get rid of -5, and we know how to get rid of a square. Make sure when you square root that you square root the whole side, not just the x, not just the 5, but both of them. Like, see how this entire thing is square rooted and not just the x, like over here. Little details on questions. Solid line, dotted line misses a questioner. Shaded above and below misses a question. Squaring a negative number misses questions. Like Math 3, it's a lot of trap questions. I say it a couple times a week. A lot of little traps that students would just fall through. And I got to make sure that you're aware of those traps and you don't fall through them.